If you've ever spent time on the weird side of YouTube, you know that there's a lot of weird and interesting art to be found. We're all familiar with music videos like I Feel Fantastic, Beasts, or Fishmen, but there's one viral video that is seldom discussed. This, of course, is the one and only Pest Control by the Radioactive Chicken Heads. This video is wonderfully weird, wacky, and somewhat creepy. It captivated YouTube audiences, young and old, and has been imprinted in the minds of millions. But many of you already know this. I made a video about the Chicken Heads about a year ago, but that video mainly just covered Pest Control. But since then, I've realized that the Radioactive Chicken Heads lore goes way deeper than any of us could imagine, and I want to know the truth. Who is the man behind the carrot? So join me as we officially unmask the members of the Radioactive Chicken Heads once and for all. To do that, we first need to understand the members and where the hell they all come from. Our story starts all the way back in 1993. There was a man by the name of Dr. Cluckenstein. Generally, he was known for creating and working on morally questionable science experiments. Cluckenstein wanted to cure hunger, but not out of a selfless need to do something good for the world, but rather to patent his cure and make a fortune off of it. At first, he used a variety of vegetables, and then later moved on to experimenting on live chickens. Essentially, Cluckenstein injected these poor animals with radioactive waste, in hopes that it would increase their size, leading to larger cuts of meat. But this didn't happen. The radioactive waste did cause the chickens to grow in size, but in the process, they grew mutated human bodies. This also happened with some of the vegetables that were being experimented on. Eventually, the mutants ended up escaping the laboratory, landing themselves in Orange, California, where they ended up residing in a barn that was coincidentally owned by Cluckenstein's nephew, Joe. Joe and the mutants ended up becoming friends, which eventually led this guy, Carrot Top, to pitch the idea of starting a band together. The group loved the idea and eventually started Joe and the Chicken Heads. Throughout the 90s, they played a wide variety of shows, their first being at a bar mitzvah. Many of these old performances have been archived, and genuinely are so much fun. They recorded some rough demo tapes throughout the years, but eventually released their first album in the year 2000. Despite releasing in 2009, their album Poultry Uprising takes place in the Joe and the Chicken Heads era, and it follows the Chicken Heads in a war against the fast food industry, led by their guitarist, Sergeant Cyclops. Speaking of which, I think it's time that we introduce the band. The lead vegetable, whom you'll become very familiar with, is Carrot Top, the vocalist and frontman of the band. And there's Greasy Chicken, the greaser lead guitarist, El Pollo Diablo, a chicken straight out of hell. He doesn't usually play instruments, but he generally runs around and dances during shows. Puke Boy, their original drummer, who's also sometimes used as the logo for the band. Pastafarian, the stoner bassist. He's a bit absent-minded, but very chill guy. Birdbrain, the dopey yet very kind guitarist. Wedgie, the sentient slice of cheese. Sergeant Cyclops, the one-eyed military guitarist and leader of the Poultry Uprising. Headless Mike, a headless chicken who was actually based on the real Headless Mike, which was an actual chicken who lived for over 18 months after being decapitated. It's insane, look it up. Then there was Bonehead, who was in the band very early on. Franken Chicken, he's, well, Franken Chicken. Foil Ball, a sentient foil ball. Kung Pao Chicken. Poultrygeist, their percussionist. Alvin Seville, who later got sent to the nut house because Dave thought he was on Acorns. I'm serious, they did a chipmunk cover of Institutionalized, and it's just as great as you think it is. Shortly after releasing their first album, due to creative differences, the Chicken Heads kicked Joe out of the band, rebranding to simply the Chicken Heads. Around 2004, the US government cracked down on the Chicken Heads and forced them to rename the band the Radioactive Chicken Heads, due to the fact that they were potentially harming audience members due to their radiation. The switch from Joe and the Chicken Heads to Radioactive Chicken Heads also brought some stylistic differences to the music. While the Joe album is a lot more punk rock and rowdy, the Radioactive music was more stylized and reminiscent of bands like Creature Feature and Misfits. Many Joe songs were remade in the new style, leading each incarnation of the band to sound its own. In 2006, they made a YouTube channel and uploaded their first official music video, being a cover of a Barry Louis Pulsar song. Immediately, their style was defined. It was weird, it was a little creepy, and it was incredibly unique. In this video, Carrot Top's doppelganger / reflection is introduced. His name is Evil Carrot. The song comes from their 2005 album, Growing Mold. After the song, Carrot Top and Evil Carrot swap dimensions, with Evil Carrot's influence on the band being apparent, as the style of this album is more spooky and vibey. In the mid-2000s, two new members joined the band, being Cherry Tomato, a guitarist, and Punky Rooster, who plays both the accordion and a guitar. Later, in 2007, they uploaded the aforementioned Pest Control, introducing their longtime foe, Chuck E. Cheese. Before the events of Pest Control, Carrot Top was hard on cash, and decided to become an exterminator, being hired by Chi Pest Exterminators. He soon got called to take care of a rat problem at the local Yucky Cheese restaurant. Pest Control is the Chicken Heads' most popular video, and for good reason. as it's packed with everything that makes them special. The song is incredibly catchy, the visuals are like the best fever dream you've ever had, there's truly nothing like it, and it perfectly captures the old weird side of YouTube. Hell, a little known fact is that the pizza chef in this video was actually played by Ron Jeremy. Yes, that Ron Jeremy. He wasn't actually hired directly for the role, but when an actor was needed last minute, he was called in. To my knowledge, this is the only association with the Chicken Heads that he ever had, but still, it's wild stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna self-promote really hard for a second, right? Some of you probably already know this, but I've got a cringecore band named Polybius. And as of the date of this video's release, we just released our cover of Pest Control. I'm gonna give you guys a little teaser just so you can listen to it for a second, and the full thing will be linked on our YouTube down below. But it's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, it's everywhere. Check it out.
Hey, it's Pest Control, so everything's alright. I'm gonna kill a Chuck E. Cheese tonight. I'm gonna kill that dirty rat. I'm gonna take his life.
Throughout the years, the Chicken Heads made some TV appearances. They were on the Tyra Banks Show, My Strange Obsession, and The Gong Show, which led to more and more attention to the band. Eventually in 2013, the Chicken Heads started recording their own TV show, which eventually released in 2017. Around the time they were recording this, the Chicken Heads welcomed a new member of their band, being Wiccan Chicken. She's a witch. Each episode of the show featured a song that the Chicken Heads had previously released, giving them full context. These episodes were great, but unfortunately only 3 were made. Throughout the career, the Chicken Heads encountered a good amount of enemies sent by Cluckenstein. One of their first foes was an alligator by the name of Gator Teeth. Another was a failed science experiment that Carrot Top made called Liquid Fat. A pair of mutated vegetables named the Creeping Onions. The killer clownfish. Bad Bunny, not the rapper, and the very important Agent RR. Agent RR was a spy working for Cluckenstein. Her father, Officer Quackley, is a lifelong worker of Cluckenstein, so she was trained early on. Carrot had also found a girlfriend in Rockin Robin, a girl that he met at a Halloween show that he was playing. If you couldn't tell, these two are the same person. But the band didn't know this at the time. Robin ended up joining the band as a dancer, but eventually broke up with Carrot Top because her dad thinks he's a loser and needs a real job. Carrot Top tried and failed to get a job around town, but eventually he found a listing for night watchman at Yucky Cheese Pizza Slime Theater. After all those years, he finally reunited with Chuck. He was hired by the Phantom of the Pizzeria, yet another one of Cluckenstein's goons. Throughout this job, Carrot ends up encountering all the members of the Legion of Goons. Luckily, Carrot made it out alive. Eventually, after a show, a millionaire fan, who, of course, was a goon, offers the Chicken Heads a high-paying gig on his yacht. They sail out to sea and the boat sinks. They end up at an underwater circus with mutant creatures. This leads them to fight with killer clownfish. After days of trying to assassinate him, Agent RR starts to fall back in love with Carrot, and despite the attempted murder, Carrot falls for her too. From there, Agent RR becomes a double agent, and starts to help the Chicken Heads. While on the way to a gig, they got attacked by the Creeping Onions, but end up frying them and escaping. They played a gig for hillbillies in a swampy shack. During this, Cluckenstein sends their old rival Gator Teeth to capture the band, but luckily, they escape. But eventually they get arrested by Officer Quackley, leading him to drive them to Cluckenstein's lab, where they end up being trapped in cages. Agent RR helps them out by stealing Quackley's keys and letting them free. While all this is happening, Cluckenstein is broadcasting his manifesto to the world, and unleashes all his goons to finish the Chicken Heads once and for all. But during this fight, Agent RR reveals herself to be Rockin Robin, and fully betrays Cluckenstein. The Chicken Heads don't fare well in this fight, nearly being defeated, until Wiccan Chicken helps them out by summoning Poultrygeist, who helps them win the fight. Finally, they're free and play a big concert while Cluckenstein plots his revenge. After this, Robin and Carrot got married. No joke. I'm not talking about the lore or like the story. They literally got married in real life as the Chicken Heads. Their actual wedding ceremony is on their YouTube channel, and it's incredible. Since then, Robin's launched her own personal music career under Poultry Pop Records, and she's released over 3 original songs: That's So Creepy, Poultry Pop, and Hi People It's Me. Robin over the years has garnered her own fan base, with her running her own Discord server for her community. As of recent, the Chicken Head story hasn't progressed further, but they're still doing really cool things like bringing back Foil Ball from the Joe days. If you're anything like me, at this point you're probably wondering who the hell these people are. What do their faces look like, and how does nobody know? There are some theories. Some think that Weird Al is one of the members, since first of all, he would totally do something like this, and second, some of the Chicken Heads actually came to Weird Al's Hollywood Star ceremony, but still, none of their identities have been found, until now. I believe I have found the man behind the carrot, but we'll get to that in just a second. The amount of cameos that the Chicken Heads have had in their videos is amazing, with cameos from Lloyd Kaufman, the Trauma guy, DJ Lance Rock, yes, that's the guy from Yo Gabba Gabba, Richard Elfman, Dr. Demento, and many others. It's truly amazing. The Radioactive Chicken Heads, despite being one of the oldest YouTube channels who still uploads frequently, doesn't have 100,000 subscribers yet. But they're so incredibly close. If this video achieves anything, I want it to be that they reach 100k on YouTube and finally get themselves a plaque. Only a few of you need to go over and subscribe. Their channel's linked below, so do what you must. Before we get into the identities of the band, there's a quick little side tangent I want to go on. In a weird way, the music of the Chicken Heads and the visuals almost feels kind of liminal. The strangeness of the art style and aesthetics give kind of a similar feeling to oddly familiar but eerie places. Speaking of liminal spaces, when I was in California last summer, I found one of the coolest liminal spaces ever, and I just want to quickly show you that. Check this out. Boy, do I love me a good liminal space. What the hell is that? Breaking away. Chief Pest Exterminators, we got a rat problem. And I need backup! Wow, thank you, Radioactive Chicken Heads. You guys saved the day, and also probably my life.
Anytime, Raymundo!
Yeah! After graciously saving my life, I ended up inviting the Chicken Heads to go and hang out with me while I was at VidCon. We had fun. Yeah! Oh, that's awesome. So everybody, yeah, somewhat, to an extent. You too, VidCon. Yeah, dude. It's here. So did you ever end up doing pest control on Mickey like you said?
No. Their security is a lot better than Chucky's. In fact, I'm not allowed to be here. We should leave.
Oh. Alright, well that was so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
Robin, thank you for coming. I'm sorry you
our
couldn't make
pleasure.
it to the
So
con.
much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I gotta be completely honest. There's something I'm not hiding, but you know, I feel comfortable sharing with you guys, you know?
Yeah, you can tell us.
Well,
We're friends.
exactly, yeah, let's cut to the chase. Well, without further ado, here we go. Well, what do you think?
Wait.
What?
You were him the whole time?
Yep, this entire time.
No.
I'm here, in real life, with Rockin Robin and Carrot Tom.
I can't believe it!
Isn't it amazing?
Here we are.
I've still got questions, you know, there's much unknown, and I gotta know, you guys escaped. How did you escape this laboratory?
Okay, well, we went right through the wall. We ran really fast, and we went through the wall, and you know, left our silhouette there.
Yeah, because we have big heads and they could just like battering
That
rams.
makes sense. That makes sense.
He forgot to make the walls reinforced.
Yeah, he
Right,
didn't,
right.
He didn't
Well, there
spend
you
the
go.
money
That's
on
the
that.
foresight. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So you went from escaping to then punk rock.
Yeah, you know what? We escaped. We thought, what are we gonna do to blend in? And there was nothing we could do to blend in. We thought, all right, why don't we just make a band? People are thinking, oh, it's a rock band. They look kind of funny, and then, you know, we can kind of pass for musicians. Well, I want to give thanks to all the past, the present, and the future members of the band. Oh yeah, there was Foil Ball, Cheese Ball, Bonehead, Cherry Tomato, Kung Pao Chicken. I'm forgetting something, but that's some of them.
There was a lot of them.
There's many.
There's many.
Egatron.
Egatron. What was the biggest success of the Chicken Heads, would you say?
The biggest success we ever had was being on a video called You Don't Remember Kill Chuck E. Cheese by Raymundo 2112.
What?
Have you ever heard of that one?
I've seen that video. That was a good
Have you
video.
heard
That
of
was
it?
really good. That was
It might be the greatest video of all time until this one right now.
Yes, until
so it's the second best video.
Second best video of all
Amazing.
time.
There we go. You heard it here first, folks. Who was the worst foe?
The worst foe would have to be Chuck E. Cheese. He's relentless. Keeps coming back.
He never stops.
No.
He never stops. Even when his own company is trying to get him out of here, he comes back.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing you can do.
You gotta respect the commitment, honestly.
He might be immortal.
He may be.
What?
He may be.
Maybe Cluckenstein created Chuck E. Cheese.
I don't know. That's a
a
conspiracy.
That's the.
I thought the guy that created Atari created Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, that's what they want you to think.
Oh, all
I
right.
want you to believe.
Exactly. This is what we call Chucky Gate, right? I think there's something very, very exciting coming up. Now, listen, something that the fans have been wanting for a really, really, really long time is to see what's under the carrot.
Oh, again with these rumors.
I know.
And these lies.
This is my real face.
That's the thing.
That's insulting.
It
It's
is.
like saying he's ugly or something.
It's not a Halloween mask or anything like that.
This is the most handsome face
Thank you.
in
you
the
go.
world. He should be on a magazine.
Dispel all the rumors. This is my real
He's
face.
blinded by his beauty. Or maybe it's the radiation. I'm not sure.
I tried to put a mask over my face, a human mask, but it doesn't fit.
So, I think, let's put these rumors to rest.
Alright, Carrot Top, let's see it. Let's see the truth.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Now, come on. Well, let's reveal the truth once and for all. I'm ready.
Alright, let's see it.
That was the most excruciating, painful moment of my whole life.
Yeah, I told you not to do that.
I should have listened.
My bad. I am so sorry. Here, this might help. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's really gonna help.
Don't worry, he was okay. So, some of you definitely don't know this, but now that we're being transparent, I think it's time to let you know. I come from a far-off world named Mars 2112, which was a themed restaurant in Times Square, and it was the coolest place in the entire world. But the place is gone. They left without me. And since 2012, I've been alone in New York. And so, I wrote a song about that with the Chicken Heads. And this is it. Check it out. Enjoy.
I remember Mars, nights at the Star Bar, flight simulator, time transporter. I'm the captain of the Imperial Guard, but I can't return to Mars. Wish I could be on the planet of my birth. Instead I'm stuck on planet Earth. Traveled here in the year 2012. I tried to go back, but I was expelled. The streets of New York is where I now roam, trying to find a way back home. Please bring me back home.
Someone get him home!
Someone get me home.
Please bring him back home!
Please bring me back home.
Someone get him home!
Someone get me home.
Please bring him back!
I lament the days I served and I
activity in the Mariner Valley region near the equator. This includes the Mars 2112 complex at Mars 1. We will pass on details of the concentration and mass of the meteors as they become available. People in the area should pay close attention to any local alerts.
Now I've been in New York for 13 years. Thinking back to home, gotta wipe my tears. The world that I once knew will never be the same. Now every single thing is lame. Please bring me back home.
Someone get him home.
Someone get me home.
Please bring him back home.
Please bring me back home.
Someone get him home.
Someone get me home.
Please bring him back.
It's time for some pest control!
Are you getting sick and tired of the rodent infestation? Then call the pests and pest extermination. There's a nasty problem with the pizza brother down the street, and the customers are complaining that they're too disgusted to eat. It inhabits a dark and noisy world filled with little children, and feeds on greasy pizza that's dropped on the filthy floors there. It's pest control, so everything's alright. I'm gonna kill Chuck E. Cheese tonight.
Turns out the corporate suits over at CEC, they're doing the job for Carrot Top and me, ripping out the bands and replacing the screens. It's almost as if they don't want kids to scream. Munch's band is really now make-believe, and I guess the ones up top, they gotta concede that the Rodent King was disturbing and too disgusting to see. In there it's a bright and modern world lacking little children with mismatched reused pizza. No one goes through the doors there. It's pest control, so everything's alright. I'm gonna kill Chuck E. Cheese tonight.
I'm gonna kill that dirty rat, I'm gonna take his life. I'll cut off his tail with a carving knife. Even if it stands at 5'5", weighs 290 pounds, but it won't escape alive. Setting up traps in every corner in every room. The job isn't over till all Chuck meets his doom. It's pest control, so everything's alright. I'm gonna kill Chuck E. Cheese tonight. We finally got Chucky out of the house. I'm on the Disneyland and Killer keep housing racing rodents from our side. Pest control, I'm patrol tonight.
So that's pretty much it. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. This video was an absolute blast to put together, and I want to give a huge thank you to the Chicken Heads, not only for collaborating on this, but for doing the songs. It's really just so much fun. Remember, they're not at 100k yet, so go over and get them to 100k. I have Orion plushies. They're cute, they're amazing, they are very high quality, the arms move, and there are links below. Huge thank you to the patrons, and with that, cluck you all. Have a good night.